They say curiosity gets people killed, but nobody tells you it can get you owned. By the time I realized, the man standing in my kitchen wasn't just a stranger anymore, and it was already too late to run. Because I had seen something. Something no one was ever supposed to see. And now, the most dangerous mafia boss in the city knew my name. My name is Elena Rivera. I am 27 years old, and the only thing that ever truly mattered to me was my 6-year-old daughter, Sophia. I cleaned offices at night. Luxury offices. The kind with marble floors, glass walls, and secrets that whispered from every corner. I never asked questions. I never lingered. I emptied trash, mopped floors, went home. Until the night I walked into the wrong room. That morning started like every other losing morning, with Sophia coughing. Not softly, not politely. The kind of coughing that sounds like her lungs are trying to claw their way out. Her medicine bottle was empty. Again. I turned it upside down and shook it like I could trick gravity into helping me. Nothing came out. I checked my wallet. $23. The medicine cost $60. I told her to lie back down. I made my voice gentle. Like it didn't matter. Like my chest wasn't already folding in on itself. When she turned her back to me, my hands started shaking. I sat on the edge of the mattress and whispered, "I don't know how to save you anymore." She heard me. She just pretended she didn't. Children do that. They pretend not to hear fear so their parents don't drown in it. Later that day, the doctor called. Not angry, not warm, just final. "If her medication stops again," she said, "we won't be able to stabilize her lungs." Stabilize. Such a clean word for something that felt like drowning. Then the landlord slid a paper under the door. Eviction notice. Stamped in red like a verdict. By the time I dragged myself to work that night, I already felt like I had failed at everything I was supposed to be. At the tower, my supervisor rushed past me and said, "Elena, don't clean the executive floor tonight. The owner is using it." I nodded. Of course I did. I always obeyed. But later, as I pushed my cart down the silent hallway alone, my phone vibrated in my pocket. A message from the pharmacy. "Your daughter's prescription will be canceled by morning if payment is not confirmed." Morning. I stared at that word like it was a death sentence. Morning meant Sophia wouldn't breathe right when she woke up. Morning meant another hospital run. Morning meant watching her cry while I pretended not to panic. I didn't even notice my feet turning. I didn't notice the elevator doors sliding open. I didn't notice the gold-trimmed numbers glowing on the restricted floor. I just walked. The executive office was silent. Too silent. The city glowed through the glass walls like 1,000 distant fires. I rolled my cart inside. That's when I heard voices, low, controlled, not "Aish," rushed, behind a half-open door. I should have backed out. I didn't. I pushed the door open with my knuckle and stepped into the true shape of power. There was no blood, no yelling, just documents laid across a glass table in neat rows. Hospital purchase agreements, pharmacy distribution takeovers, judicial donation schedules, emergency response appropriations quietly rerouted. In the center of it all, one file. My pharmacy. My daughter's hospital. My hands went cold. That was when a calm voice spoke behind me. "You're early." I turned slowly. 3 men stood near the window. Still. Watching. And the 4th man sat at the head of the table, hands folded like this was a business meeting and not the architecture of control. His eyes lifted. The air shifted. "What did you see?" he asked softly. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. "I asked," he repeated gently. "What did you see?" I clean." I whispered. I just clean. He studied my face, like he was reading something written under my skin. Then he smiled, not friendly, not cruel, just certain. Let her go, he said. The door closed behind me. Only then did my legs finally collapse. I made it home, alive. I don't remember the ride back, only unlocking my door and sliding down against it. Sophia ran to me. Mama, did you get my medicine? I stared at her. And then I broke, in the middle of the room, on the stained carpet, with my daughter wiping my tears with her tiny hands. It's okay, she whispered. I'll be okay. I nodded like a liar. That night I sold the last thing that meant anything. My mother's necklace. I bought the medicine. Sophia slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. For a few hours. I believed that door had closed behind me forever. The call came from the hospital, not a stranger, a coordinator who sounded impressed. Ms. Rivera, your daughter has been approved for a private respiratory care program. All expenses covered. I laughed. Out loud. Too loud. That's not possible, I said. It already is, she replied. An address followed. A time. A driver would pick us up. I should have refused. I didn't. The driver had kind eyes. Too kind. The building wasn't a hospital. It was a mansion pretending to be Mercy. And he was waiting inside. The same calm eyes. The same controlled presence. You returned home safely, he said. Yes. You sold your necklace. My stomach dropped. You bought the medicine. You have cameras in my house? I asked. No, he replied quietly. I have eyes in the city. Then he added softly, You have a sick child. I nodded. You walked into a room you weren't meant to see. I didn't understand what I saw. I fired back. Another pause. That, he said, is what makes you dangerous. He didn't lock a door. He didn't touch me. That was the terror. You will go home, he said. You will continue your life. Then his gaze sharpened. But when I ask for you, you will come. And if I don't? I whispered. He tilted his head. Your pharmacy will forget your name. Your hospital will lose your account. Your landlord will suddenly remember your debt. Every word fell softly. Every word cut through my heart like a knife. What do you want from me? I asked. He considered that carefully. I want you not to lie to me, he said. My chest tightened. I already did. For the first time. His smile faded. That night I was given a bedroom larger than my whole apartment. Luxury, hot water, clean sheets. But the windows didn't open. And I understood. I wasn't a guest. I was an asset wrapped in silk. For 3 days after that night, he did not call for me. No summons, no driver, nothing. And that was when I realized how deep the trap already was. Because I was the one listening. For footsteps that weren't there. For a phone that didn't ring. For a presence that had no reason to be with me. And yet had already rearranged my breathing. Sophia's medicine arrived every morning at exactly 7:12 a.m. Not 7:10. Not 7:15. 7:12. A man left it at the door, knocked once, and disappeared down the stairs before I ever opened it. No note. No instructions. Just continuation. As if my world was now on a schedule I hadn't agreed to, but couldn't interrupt. 2 days later, my supervisor called me into her office. Her hands were shaking. Elena, she said, your shift has been reorganized. Reorganized how? You no longer work for us. I felt the floor hollow out under my feet. You're firing me? No, she whispered. I'm erasing you. That night, a new contract appeared in my email. Private employment. Cleaning only one residence. 5 times my old salary. No company name, just an address. On the hill. The apartment he moved us into was not a cage. That was the problem. It was beautiful. Bright windows, warm floors, white curtains that moved like breath. No bars, no locks, and nowhere to fall to. When I confronted him the next time, my voice was already trembling. You fired my supervisor. She was inefficient. He said, you bought my lease. You were paying too much. He countered, you moved my job into your house. I said, you rearranged everything around me like I was furniture. He didn't deny it. He simply asked, is your daughter breathing better? I froze. Yes. Then your world is functioning, he said. Why are you angry with order? He asked. Because it isn't mine, I whispered. He stepped closer. Not threatening, not romantic, just too close. Everything you call yours has always belonged to someone, he said. And me? I once watched the system take someone from me because nobody cared enough to step in, but I stepped in for you and made things happen. Stop pretending otherwise. He said and left. Later that night, Sophia ran through the apartment laughing, not endangered, not used, just happy. And a part of me hated myself for feeling relief inside fear. Then I saw him again on the balcony. The city was lower here. Closer. More real. You avoid me, he said. I crossed my arms. I don't owe you my schedule. No, he agreed. You owe me your honesty. I never agreed to that. You did, he said softly. The moment you lied in that office. Something inside me snapped. You didn't save me, I said. You reorganized me. He looked at me, then really looked. I don't know how to keep something safe without trapping it, he said quietly. That's not protection. That's a cage, I said. Only if you intend to leave, he replied. The words hit harder than any threat. Silence stretched between us. Then, without planning to, I said, You don't even know me. His mouth twitched. I know how you breathe when you're lying. I hated that he was right. He reached out, stopped an inch from my face. His hand hovered there. Don't, I whispered, shaking. He didn't touch me, and that somehow made it worse. I decided to disappear quietly. No confrontation. No goodbye. Just distance. I stopped answering the secure phone he had given me. I rode the bus instead of using the driver. I paid in cash. For a few hours, I felt like myself again. Then the system closed. My bank card was declined at the pharmacy. Sophia's treatment authorization disappeared from the hospital system. The landlord called to say the new lease had been reversed. Not canceled, reversed. When I finally stood in front of him again, my voice broke before I finished the first sentence. You said I wasn't a prisoner. He looked genuinely puzzled. You aren't. My money vanished. Yes. My lease vanished. Yes. My daughter's coverage. His eyes sharpened. That was never at risk. I exhaled shakily. Then what was? You, he said simply. Leaving without permission. We argued that night, not shouting, not gentle. Explosive and restrained at the same time. You don't get to manufacture my freedom and then punish me for using it, I said. You weren't punished, he replied. You were corrected. I'm not a misprint, I snapped. You are a miracle that refuses to believe it, he said. That's not romantic, I whispered. I'm not trying to be romantic, he said. I'm trying to not lose you, he added. That confession caught us both off guard. Silence hit, thick, charged. I am not something you get to keep, I said. I know, he replied. And you still want me. His voice dropped. Yes. He stepped closer. Too close. Anger trembled between us. So did want. I don't want to want you, I whispered. Neither do I, he answered. He touched my wrist. Slow. Electric. We kissed like people trying to erase a boundary instead of crossing it. Hard. Desperate. Full of the kind of shame that comes after relief. When we pulled apart, we were both shaking. The next morning, a name appeared on the news. A doctor. The same one who had once denied Sophia emergency access during a shortage months ago. He hadn't been arrested. He hadn't been accused. He had simply disappeared from his position overnight. His clinic closed. No one will ever deny her again, he said quietly that evening. I felt cold all the way down to my bones. You didn't do that for justice, I said. No. You did it for me. Yes. The air between us suffocated. That's not love, I whispered. It's the only version I was trained for, he answered. And for the first time, I realized his obsession wasn't fueled by hunger. It was built from a wound that had never learned how to heal without destroying something first. After the doctor disappeared, the apartment felt different. Not quieter, heavier. Like the walls had learned something about me I hadn't admitted yet. Sophia slept peacefully. Her breathing was steady, her cheeks warm, and I sat on the edge of her bed and whispered into the dark. I didn't ask for this. But the dark didn't answer. It never does. He didn't come for 2 days after that. No messages, no driver, no quiet corrections. For the first time since this had begun, I felt absence more sharply than fear. And that terrified me. The woman who disappeared next wasn't powerful. She worked the front desk at the hospital. The same woman who once bent the rules to squeeze Sophia into an emergency slot. The same woman who had whispered, "Don't tell anyone I did this." Her photo appeared on the late news. Missing. No suspects, no trail. My chest hollowed out. I went to him shaking. "This one wasn't even your enemy," I said. "She helped us." He didn't deny it. She talked to the wrong person. "You erased her," I whispered. "I protected what's mine," he replied. Something inside me cracked wide open. "And what about what she was to her child?" I whispered. "What about what she was to someone else?" His jaw tightened. "She was collateral before I touched her life," he said. "I just made it permanent." I staggered back like he'd struck me. That was the moment I understood. He didn't destroy only threats. He destroyed anything that introduced chance. That night, I couldn't sleep, not because of him, because of myself, because some traitorous, sick part of me whispered, "Sophia is still breathing. Your rent is still paid. Your hands are still empty of hunger." His sins didn't reach me directly, and that made them harder to reject. I pressed my forehead against the bathroom mirror and whispered, "You're becoming quiet about things you swore you'd never excuse." The woman in the mirror didn't answer. She looked tired. He found me in the kitchen later, barefoot, shirt open at the collar. "You can hate me," he said, "but you cannot pretend you did not choose to stay after the doctor. You manipulated the world until I had no clean exit." I fired back. "And you still walked back into the room," he replied. Silence roared between us. He reached for me. This time I didn't say, "Don't." Not because I forgave him, because I was exhausted from resisting a gravity that remained even when I pushed. He kissed me slowly now. No violence, no urgency, just inevitability. "You're shaking," he murmured. "I don't know if it's fear or want anymore," I whispered. "For me, it's always both," he said. That was the most honest thing he had ever said. The next day, a message came through a number I didn't recognize. One sentence. "I can get you and the child out. Tonight. No second chances." Attached to it was a photo. My old apartment building. The back staircase. A place his cameras didn't reach. Hope fell into my chest like a wound. I didn't know who sent it. I didn't care. For the first time, there was a door that didn't belong to him. I packed quietly. Not clothes, documents, proof, medical records, lease papers, the names of people who had vanished. Evidence. Not for the police. For leverage. When he saw the bag by the door, he didn't shout. He smiled softly. "You're taking things you won't need," he said. "I don't need your permission anymore." For the first time, he looked afraid. "You won't make it 6 blocks without the world folding against you," he said. "You think this city has mercy for women like you without men like me?" I hesitated. That was my final mistake. He took a breath. Slow, careful. "I will you give everything back," he said. "Your name, your money, your privacy." I frowned. "What's the price?" "Stay," he said, "and never lie to me again." The trap closed beautifully. Not with chains, with safety. On the balcony again. Same city, same height, different ending. Sophia slept a room away. Safe, protected by a kingdom built on erasure. He stood beside me. "If you walk out tonight," he said, "I won't stop you." I turned, disbelieving. "But the world will." I laughed weakly. "You built it that way." "Yes," he replied. "So you would always come back?" Silence stretched. Painful. Intimate. "If I stay," I asked, "what do I become?" His voice broke. "My reason." And in that single crack, I saw him exactly as he was. Not a god, not a monster. A man who had confused control for connection for so long that he no longer knew the difference. I looked at the city. At the road that led to danger. At the door that led to a beautiful prison. And I asked myself the only question that mattered. If a monster saves your child, feeds her, protects her, and loves her in his broken way, does that make him your savior? Or your cage? Tell me. Would you choose freedom and risk losing everything, or protection that costs you your soul?